Season 3 is here, which means we got to go over some settings for Modern Warfare 2. We're going to be going over the best settings that you should have for Modern Warfare 2 Season 3. There wasn't a ton of settings that they added for Season 3, but I really just want to give you guys an update on my settings and what I've been using. A lot of them I have changed, and a lot of them that you should change as well to improve your gameplay. So if you guys enjoyed this video, find it helpful in any way, shape, or form, be sure you guys leave a like and subscribe to the channel for more Modern Warfare 2 content, class setups, and videos, and much more. Without further ado, guys, let's get into the best settings for Modern Warfare 2 Season 3. Now, we are going to start with the controller settings. The controller that I use personally is a Scuff PS5 controller here. I mean, it's just, you know, Scuff PS5 has the back paddles and everything. I do use one control freak on the right stick. If you're looking at it, yeah, the right stick, to just, you know, help with my aim and things like that. And then for the back paddles, I mainly use the outer paddles here. I don't really use the inner ones that much just because they don't really work with how I hold the controller. I mean, either way, it's fine. Now, this one right here, which if you're looking on the back is the left paddle. I use that for YYing or plating up if you're playing Warzone. And then this one right here, which is the right paddle, I use for jumping. This one right here. So now going over the actual settings, obviously for controller, I have it set to controller. If you have it set to mouse, and it's not going to work for you. The button layout that I do use tactical, which basically means it swaps the melee and the crouch. Crouch is like the R3, and then melee is just your circle. I don't use flip for the R1 and L1 buttons, and then tactical obviously for Warzone 2. And then if you want to actually look at the buttons here, so yeah, basically change stance slide is R3, and then melee is just circle. Bumper ping, I have that turned off. I think that just helps with pinging people. Stick layout is just set to default. I don't really know of anyone that plays Southpaw. I think I maybe know a couple people, but just play default. No controller vibration. If you have to play with controller vibration, I mean, obviously do so, but it's just going to hinder your just aim, and it's just going to feel weird. I turned it off years and years ago. Just leave it off, man. Trigger effects, leave that off. Horizontal and vertical stick sensitivity. This is your actual sense. They kind of changed the way it looks. You can't, I thought you could actually set it to like an exact number, like 6.5, but really they just changed it to more of like a slider rather than like how it used to be like a drop down, I think. So yeah, 7.7 is what I play on, and I recently turned this down to 0.85 for the ADS sensitivity multiplier. Basically what this means is when you're aiming in, it makes it a little bit slower to kind of move around. It just makes it more accurate. Sensitivity multiplier, I keep this just default at 1.0. Vertical aim axis, that's just standard. And then aim down sight behavior hold. I can't change zoom, shared input, sprint tactical, sprint focus, whatever. The main ones here, automatic sprint, you want to have this at automatic tactical sprint. This basically just means you are a lot faster when moving around the map or just moving around in general. If you have this off, you basically have to press down on the L3 to like run or do anything. Equipment behavior hold, ADS melee for weapon mount. Tap to reload for interact. This basically means that you can just, again, tap to reload, and then to interact, it's actually hold. I know a lot of people do prioritize interact for Warzone, but tap to reload I think is the best for multiplayer. Armor plate behavior is just apply all. So now switching to the advanced tab for controller, these are probably the best advanced settings for controller, so I would just follow this carefully. Target aim assist on, aim assist type, set this to default. Black Ops was the way to go apparently for a while. I tried it, it feels a little bit weaker than just normal default aim assist, so just keep that the same. Dynamic for aim response curved, and then ADS sensitivity multiplier 1.00. ADS sensitivity transitioning time, keep that instant. Custom sensitivity per zoom, basically this just adjusts the zoom for, you know, different like scopes, I guess. I would just turn that off and just adjust it here for the ADS sensitivity multiplier in the just normal controller settings. Now, dead zones is important as well. This will also affect your aim. So what I would do is I would set these both at 0-0, go into a private match, and then if your character's moving, turn this up a little bit. And if they're not moving, then turn it down. You don't want to set this too high. If you set it too high, it's going to make your controller feel super weird. But if you really have like super bad stick drift, you might have to turn up a little bit than 0.04. But I want to go higher than like 0.15. I mean, if your controller is that bad, like that's crazy. But yeah, 0.04 is what I use for the input dead zones. Left stick and right stick max, put that at 1.0. And then this is important as well. Left trigger and right trigger, set this to 0.00. Basically what that means is when you're pressing down on the trigger, it'll read it instantly instead of having some sort of weird delay with it. Gyro aim, I don't know, you're crazy. I mean, if it benefits you, go for it. But I'm not going to go over these settings. There's probably another video out there for those. So now the movement behaviors. This section is also very important as well. Auto move forward, just leave that off. Tactical sprint behavior, set this to double tap. I have tried out the other ones and I really don't see a difference, honestly. I switched it to double tap a while ago, and again, I didn't really notice anything Grounded mantle, automatic airborne mantle, automatic ground mantle, leave these off. It messes with you. Like, you basically are moving over objects when you don't want to, so just don't even mess with these. This is a big one here. Invert, slide, and dive behavior. So there's sliding in this game and there's diving. Sliding obviously isn't the way to go in this game. They actually did buff it a little bit with this update, but it's not much to where you have to change this back to standard. I would switch this to inverted. Basically what that means is when you tap down on like your basically like prone button, it'll just automatically dolphin dive you. Plunging underwater, I really don't think matters. I had it set to movement, but I haven't really noticed a difference with that, honestly. I think there's just with the water and stuff. Parachute auto deploy on, sprinting door bash on, mantle only. The rest of the stuff here I don't think is anything too crazy. It's just kind of like weapon mount stuff. Quick C4 detonation, turn that on. Yeah, really all of these I guess are just personal preference, like overlay behaviors, yeah, whatever. So now going over to the graphics tab for display, I play full screen borderless. I tab out a lot, but if you don't tab out as much, I would just set this to just full screen exclusive. And then, yeah, basically make sure that everything is set here. The GPU should automatically be red anyways. Dynamic resolution, turn that off. Automatic aspect ratio, turn off VSync and VSync here. Just turn those both off. I use a custom frame rate. I just do 300, basically max out for gameplay. Now in the menus, I set this to 60 because I alt tab. I don't want this running at like over 100 frames when it doesn't need to. So turn that at 60. These, I don't think you really have to mess with these. HDR, don't turn that on. So now going over the quality section here for the graphics. I set everything to custom. Render resolution, just keep that at 100. Fidelity, CAS is the best option for the upscaling. Basically it makes your game a little bit sharper than doing whatever the other ones are. Anti-aliasing, SMAA T2X, and then low and then 90 for the video memory scale. Now right here, I set the texture resolution to normal. It just makes those textures like not blurry. It just makes it a little bit more sharper. So set that to normal. And basically everything else you want to set to low if you want the best FPS performance. Low, 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 short, low, very low, on for the bullet impacts. I like to just see where my bullets are going. On for this one. And then, yeah, basically everything's turned off. Even on-demand texture streaming, turn that off. And then low, low, off. Defaults, very low, off. I think there was a couple of settings they might have added here, but again, set it to low. Really, there is no difference than, you know, playing on high settings and playing low settings or whatever. This is a big one here. Reflex latency, turn that on. Depth of field, turn that off. World and weapon motion blur. If you're using motion blur in Call of Duty in 2023, reconsider everything. Just turn those off. Film grain, put that at 0. Now the view section is also pretty huge as well. For field of view, I've actually been playing on 108 recently. What I've been told is at 120 you really don't have like crazy amount of aim assist when you're playing controller. Also, I've been playing a lot of ranked recently, so having the lower FOV actually has been more helpful than having it at 120. So I've been playing between 108 to 110. I have tried 105. I just think that's too low for me right now. But I think 105 and like 110, 115 is like the sweet spot for field of view. Affected for ADS, basically what that means is when you're aiming, everything is kind of like far out and you just get better control of your weapon, better visual control of your weapon. Weapon field of view is wide. Basically what that does is it makes your gun kind of like stretched out and like a little bit smaller in the view, so it's not like taking up your screen for the most part. Third person field of view 90, vehicle field of view wide, and then first and third person camera, turn these to least. Basically what that means is any sort of shaking, if you set this to 100%, it's going to be super crazy. Just set it to least 50-50 for both first and third person, and the rest just is personal preference, how you want to view like spectator stuff. So now going over audio settings, it's really hard to tell what are the best audio options because we all have different audio headphones and stuff. I actually switched to IEMs recently, so I've been kind of messing with my audio. I used to use a pair of headphones like the Bear Dynamics, like these ones right here, but I'm kind of trying out IEMs just to see how they feel. I don't like having the big headset on me anymore. So headphone bass boost is the best option, and everything else, you just really want to focus on your effects volume being louder and just, you know, being able to hear footsteps and stuff. The gameplay and cinematic music volumes, I turn that all the way off though. I just don't like hearing that. Make sure all your speaker and headphone, you know, defaults here are set to your default for your system or PC or whatever. And if you are playing ranked, talking game, that's the only thing I'm going to say out of this section here. If you're playing ranked talking game, set that up so you can talk to your teammates, or really just in any mode, honestly. But the one setting that they added recently was the reduced tinnitus. I'm probably butchering that. Turn that on. Basically what that means is any sharper noises like flashes and just any sharp noise will be a little bit duller, so it's nice on your ears, and everything else is just personal preference. So now going over the interface tab here, these first 4 settings you really don't want to mess with that much. They don't really change anything too crazy. Maybe mess with them in game and see what they do, but I've never touched these 4 settings and don't really notice anything. Color customization is a big one though, so I actually use filter 2. Basically that makes like things in game more saturated and just easier to see, and just makes the colors look nicer. Interface 75 and 100 for those 4 settings there. The interface element colors, you don't have to change anything too crazy here. I changed my U color just because I like just how my name is just a different color than everything else. Team and party, the one thing I would change is the enemy color. You want to set this basically to a bright color, so like purple or mainly red. If you're used to red, I would turn up the saturation and brightness all the way up so you can see that red dot above enemies' heads, and it's actually a lot easier to see enemies. It's crazy. Turn the setting on, it'll make your gameplay just so much different and so much better. And then neutral, contested, those don't really matter. It's just, I guess, personal preference for those. And then kind of everything else here, the main ones here is the HUD, the vertical and horizontal. I set those to 0, 0. What that does is it kind of pushes everything kind of closer to you. So like your mini map and like the kill feed and just like other things on the UI and stuff when you're in a game, so you can just, you know, kind of quickly look at your map and kind of see what's going on the map and things like that. Turn this to square though. Minimap rotation on. Horizontal compass, you could turn this off. I just leave mine on though. Crosshairs, turn that on. Hit marker visuals on. Damage based hit markers on. And then what's another one here? Center dot on. Basically that puts that dot in the middle of your screen all the time, so it's just kind of easier to, you know, keep on target with your enemies and stuff. And then telemetry is like the stuff at the top left that tell you like your FPS and packet loss and stuff. And then everything else I've just basically left at default. And then the account and network tab, there really isn't anything crazy to go over there. It's just kind of like privacy and like, you know, if you don't want certain things to show up, and it shows like your IP. So I'm not going to go over that. But there is basically most of the settings and just all the settings that you should be changing for Modern Warfare 2 Season 3. If you guys found this video helpful, make sure you guys leave a like, subscribe to the channel, and I'll catch y'all later. Take care, everybody.